Ladies and gentlemen, 4 days ago, I came to you on this YouTube channel. I posted a video very clearly here. It said, buckle up, September's critical move starts today. We look at the price chart. We see a bounce from the critical support zone at 107,000. We see a breakout of this triangle formation on the hourly chart starting 4 days ago when that video was posted. And we see a bit of a local stagnation in the price for the last 24 hours, which is leading a few people to say, where's that move, Wolf? Where's that move that you promised? Well, the move is happening right now. It has not yet become explosive because we haven't broken above the critical level we need to get above, which is what I've mentioned the whole time at $118,000. $118,000 is the critical medium-term level on Bitcoin to make this go from an unconfirmed bounce to an actual macro breakout once again, which will test all-time highs and potentially break them once again. But although we've seen this short-term stagnation, it's not a problem at all. We've still got a local upwards trend, and in fact, we're making excellent strides in the right direction on the 1 week chart. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but the 1 week chart on Bitcoin is basically the foundation of a lot of the Bitcoin threats that the bears keep talking about. Whenever people say, oh, the bull market's over, we've topped out already, they look at the 1 week chart. They look at the RSI on the 1 week chart. They look at the MACD on the 1 week chart. We did, after all, just see a bearish 1 week chart MACD cross a couple of weeks ago, and the last two times we've seen that, it's led to a pretty significant correction. So they're right to look at these things, but luckily, these things are being solved as we speak, and as we head towards the 1 week candle in 8 hours, there's going to be a lot to discuss. There's also something very positive happening on the 1 week chart, which counteracts some of these bearish arguments. We're going to look into that 1 week chart today, focus on that, and then also dive into that Bitcoin short-term move and how Ethereum and the altcoin market are reacting. Because I didn't lie 4 days ago when I said the move is starting now. The move did start. We broke that triangle. And it's not Bitcoin that's made the majority of the gains. It's actually the altcoin market that is bouncing as well, and Ethereum, of course. Before we dive into it today, I just want to get you to check out the Bitunix Exchange. It will take about 30 or 40 seconds here. A lot of people ask me what exchange I use as a trader. I use the Bitunix Exchange, and I don't have a contract with them. I haven't signed anything with them. I don't work for them. I advertise them on my own accord. With my referral link down below, you can get a 15% trading fee discount permanently attached to your account, as well as up to 8,000 USDT in rewards just by signing up with my link down below. Why would you sign up? Well, it's global, it's non-KYC, it's never been hacked before, it's got all the functions and pairs that you would expect for a major exchange. For that reason, I use it. And I implore you to consider using it as well. Sign up with my link to help out the channel, help out yourself. Cheers. As we press down to the $107,000 support zone on Bitcoin, the bottom of this green box, which, by the way, is clearly a macro support zone, it's identified as the last stop-off point before the bounce up above this range here. It's also just very clearly a volume profile level. We look at the volume profile, we see it starts spiking around that $107,000 zone. We look at the bull market support band, and we see the bull market support band, of course, being retested at $107,000, which might sound like nothing. But it really is important. There's a reason why I've been talking about the bull market support band so much in the last couple of weeks, because we've done this before. We've done this, in fact, on 3 occasions now. September's. What do we see in September's? We see a pullback in September that comes down to the bull market support band on top of a neckline of support and then an all-time high bounce, right? That's what's happened in 2021. Support neckline right there, pre-established, bouncing on that bull market support band in September and going to all-time highs. And it's also what happened in 2017. We have the pre-established macro support zone. You can see it there horizontally, bouncing on that bull market support band to all-time highs starting in September. So this is not random. It's not unpredictable. There's a very clear reason as to why I said 4 days ago on this YouTube channel, the bounce starts here. It's partially because of that trend. But on top of that, within that trend that said we'd probably bounce in the bull market support band, there was also a triangle of compression that was reaching an apex point around the time that we saw major macroeconomic news events come out. We've bounced from that triangle. And so I believe that that move has begun. And given how important that bull market support band was, it makes sense that any short-term stagnation we see here is just a natural pause in the short-term upwards trend that could be forming. Now, that's my theory. My theory is we're all good here. My theory is we'll continue higher, but that's still a theory until $118,000 is taken. So although I am sitting here and saying I'm short-term bullish and long-term bullish, I actually don't really think this is the time to be making short-term buys because we have not seen short-term validations, okay? And validations, in my view, would come at a break of $118,000, which is the POC on the volume profile for this price region. And it's also, by the way, look at this white line, which we rejected from back here. It's also getting above that white line. And that white line is it's not just nothing. It's not just random. It goes right back to 2017. It's literally 8 years old. So 118,000 is the short-term validation for this move. But currently, in an unvalidated sense, I should say, I still think we're in a pretty decent position here. And I will continue to think that unless we go ahead and break down from 107,000, break down from the bull market support band, as that would be a destruction of my entire short-term theory. So I actually think Bitcoin is in a good position, and I stand by what I said 4 days ago. I think the move has begun. I think it started 4 days ago, and I think it's continuing right now. A lot of the bearish threats, a lot of the bearish arguments during this entire region have been based around the 1 week chart. Okay, we look at the 1 week chart on Bitcoin, and it is very true that there are a couple of threats that have presented themselves here on the 1 week chart. One of them is, and got a lot of attention in the last couple of weeks, the MACD, okay, the moving average convergence divergence indicator. We saw a bearish cross in the MACD, which is when the MACD line crosses below the signal line. In other words, the blue line crosses below the red line, or the orange line. And I'm circling a few times, we've seen that before. And the result of those crosses historically has been big corrections. Now, importantly, and this is my main counterpoint, although we saw corrections, we did not see the end of the bear market or end of the bull market when we saw these bearish crosses. So I think this is another example of that. Bearish cross, and we saw a correction. And a lot of people said that correction is going to take us lower. But again, we're not seeing necessarily the end of the bull market just because of MACD cross, because on all the other occasions of this cycle, we've seen those MACD crosses. They have led to a correction. They haven't led to a bear market. So a MACD cross in the 1 week chart RSI, a bearish MACD cross in the 1 week chart RSI is not synonymous with the end of a bull market, as per the fact that we've survived all of them so far. It is, however, synonymous with a correction. And that's something we're seeing right now. So that's something the bears have been looking at. And they've said basically that cross is going to take us down even further. I don't think there's much evidence for that, again, because we've survived the prior ones, but it is certainly a bearish point, and it's something we can't really ignore. On top of that, one of the bearish claims on the weekly chart RSI has been in regards to the 62 level, the level in red that I have on the screen here, which is, by the way, the origin of weekly chart RSI price action. If I looked at a better chart, it doesn't show it here, but RSI started at 62. And that's a level that we've basically bounced up and down below many, many times, and it's acted as resistance and support many, many times. And it doesn't look like it. It looks messy because the RSI is an indicator that's not best viewed in hindsight, because obviously with the RSI, unlike with price candles where you can see where the price went in between the candle closes, we only really see where the RSI ended up. But that 62 level has been incredibly influential. There's no denying that. And that's something we've actually broken down from just a few weeks ago here, which is one of the reasons we saw this correction so far. That's another bearish threat that people have been talking about. Now, the progress we've made here in the last couple of days has been pretty immense on the weekly chart. Well, for one, we've got a triangle here. So basically, even though we've seen a 1 week chart RSI breakdown, it's still happening within a valid structure that has not yet broken down. So it's not that much of a breakdown, I would claim. And secondly, and this is the important thing, we are now coming in for a bullish indicator on the 1 week chart RSI, which is obviously playing against a lot of the bearish claims right now. And that's the stochastic RSI cross. Very similar to the MACD in how it functions. Essentially how it functions is when we see the orange line cross below the blue line, that's a bullish cross, especially when it happens in oversold territory, which is below 20 on the MACD, on the stochastic RSI, I should say. Now, just circling occasions in which we've seen these bullish crosses since the start of this cycle, since 2022. Bullish cross right there ended the bear market, brought Bitcoin upwards. Bullish cross right here led to a bit of a pump there within the macro range. Bullish cross led to an actual macro move. Again, bullish cross continuing that macro move. This was a bit of a messy period, but even within that messy period, the bullish crosses still seem to have some sort of influence. And then finally, back here in March or April, we saw a bullish cross, which is the last one we've seen, and it led to a move to all-time highs. So just like the MACD, right, this stochastic RSI has crossed, but instead of crossing bearish, it's crossed bullish, or looks to be crossing bullish in the next 8 hours, provided this weekly candle closes green, which it probably should be doing. And so what does this do for us? Well, it tells us that, hey, look, yeah, there are these bearish indicators on the weekly chart, They are, however, very faulty. And on top of that, there's also bullish indicators now on the weekly chart, like this stochastic RSI bullish cross, which is coming in to trigger potentially another upside leg on Bitcoin and hence the entire market. So this is a very good step. And I stand by what I said in my video 4 days ago. I think the move begun 4 days ago. It's a theory, and it's going to be a theory until 118K breaks. If 118K breaks, it becomes a fact, right? But currently I still remain a believer in that theory. I still remain short-term and long-term bullish, not only for Bitcoin, but also looking at Ethereum. You know, Ethereum started bouncing 4 days ago as well. Ethereum BTC held on to support and started bouncing 4 days ago. The total cryptocurrency market cap 4 days ago made its jump up to its prior all-time high from 2021, right? It's not just Bitcoin. The broader market 4 days ago, when I posted that video, decided it could be time to get rolling here. So again, it is still a theory until we see that confirmation of 118,000, but it's a theory that is becoming more and more convincing by the day. And the bearish threats here, which were once consuming in the minds of many investors, have become a lot weaker. So good stuff occurring in the charts. I'll keep you updated on the situation. Guys, I really appreciate you watching the video. If you appreciate the content, subscribe so you can see more of it. Of course, it's a no-brainer. And also, I would appreciate if you go ahead and check out the Bitunix Exchange. There's something in it for you, of course. You're getting access to an exchange with a 15% trading fee discount attached to every single buy and sell you make for your entire life on that exchange, just by signing up with my link down below. There's no location restrictions. There's no VPN required. None of that. It's never been hacked before. It's got everything you would expect from a major exchange. All you need to do is sign up with that link down below, get those bonuses, get those rewards with that link exclusively, and you'll be helping out the channel while you do so. So go ahead and do that if you're interested. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you tomorrow.